So this video I'm going to talk a little bit about how do we take things out of CodeHS and start making them more like the real files you'd use in programming. So you'll see I've created a folder. I'm calling it my website. You can call it anything you want. Remember, anything, I would relate it to the title of your website. Remember, you don't want spaces or any characters in there. You could use dashes if you really need to, but just something simple, right? So if it's a restaurant, maybe it's the name of the restaurant's website, right? Anything you want to use is fine. Just make sure you follow those naming conventions that we've talked about. So I've opened up the folder, and this is where I'm going to put all of my files, right? I'm going to put all of my files for my website in there, whether it's the style for CSS or the HTML files or any other files that come up if you're doing something with JavaScript, or if you're doing something involving a slider and you get some ancillary files from online for that, or your images, right? Your images have to go here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up an editor. We have these editors that we use. On Macs, I prefer Text Wrangler. You can download that on your Mac if you want. If you're working at home on a Windows computer, you could use Notepad++ is what I usually recommend. So I'm going to open up Text Wrangler on this computer. So we have that installed on these. We can look for it. It's towards the end. There's Text Wrangler. And it's kind of like using a Microsoft Word that is specifically for programming, specifically for HTML or website stuff. So what I've done here is I see it's a new document, and I could type out my code for my website. I actually already copied some from online just as an example. And what you can do is you take from one of your pages on CodeHS, paste all of it here, right? And now I'm going to go and save it. I'm going to go to File. I've got to go to Save As. And what I've got to do is I've got to give it a name. Your home page should be called index.html, right? Any of your other pages can be called whatever you want as long as it follows the naming conventions, right? No spaces. And I need to change the where. So I put my folder on the desktop. There we go. I got to expand that so I can see everything there. Desktop, and I have a folder on there called My Website. So index.html, My Website, I'm saving it there. So I'll notice at the top I've got the little thing that shows what it is. I'm going to minimize this, and I'll see now in that folder, there it is. And now if I double click it, it opens up the website, and it opens it up in Chrome. So now I could hit refresh on this every time I make changes, right? And that can be how I work with looking at that website. Right? So I'm going to put all of my files here. I put all my pictures there, and as long as I do that, when I go to make a link in the document, I'm going to be able to have all of that information here, and that's isolating it. In a couple of other videos, I'll show a couple of other important pieces to this, especially packaging this up for when you upload it. But that's the basics on how I get everything from CodeHS onto your computer. This folder now can be on a flash drive. You could put the folder on Google Drive and download it to the computer every time. Right, there's a couple of ways you can transport it. Talk to me about those, and we'll find out what works for your situation. Flash drive is usually the easiest. But that's how you'll now have to bring it back and forth when you work with this way. And that's the idea.